What's up everybody, today I'm gonna answer the question no one asked, and that is, how can you get your snare drum to sound like the one on Metallica's Saint Anger album? Now, a lot of people might suggest removing the snare wires, not tuning the drum properly, or simply replacing your snare drum with a trash can lid altogether, but the truth is that there is so much more to it than that. And in this video, I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to get that infamous snare sound. When people think of Saint Anger, the unique and characteristic snare sound is often the first thing that comes to mind. That and Lars Ulrich's legitimately great double bass drumming on that album. But if the snare sound is what people really remember, it must be because it's really good. I mean, it's not like a strangely sounding snare drum is gonna be a running joke 15 years after the album's release, right? I mean, that would just be weird. Alright, so how do we actually get this sound? Well, first of all, we'll be using a clear drum head because we're not playing jazz. And also, we'll be hitting every note as a rim shot. What about ghost notes? What are ghost notes? And now that we've got the technique down, I'm gonna show you a secret trick to tuning drums to get a perfect and balanced drum sound. You see, when you tune a drum really low, you can get this fat and powerful sound, kinda like the sound of a table hitting another table, but if you tune the drum higher, you can get so much more fullness and tone out of the drum. And obviously, we would like both for this sound. So, do we tune the drum low or high? And the answer is, why not both? So what we're gonna do when we're tuning this drum is that we're gonna take every other lock and tune it way up as far as it goes, and every lock that we haven't tuned way up is gonna be completely loose, so we get the fatness of the low tuning and the fullness of the high tuning. I am pretty sure that's how it works. Alright, now that the batter head is perfectly in tune, it's time to look at the resonant head. And for this, I'm actually going to use a technique that I learned from another drummer here on YouTube called R. David R. Or maybe just David, whatever floats your goat. Anyway, David first learned this trick when he bought a snare drum from a person who lied to him who informed him about the fact that if you actually take a knife and cut a hole in the resonant head, the snare drum will sound much better. So without looking further into that logic, I'm gonna find a knife and cut a small hole in the resonant head of my snare drum. I should probably mention that if you can't get the same fantastic sound as I'm gonna get right now, it's because I'm using this rare, very expensive snare drum, and the guy who sold it to me actually only wanted about $300 or $400 for this. So I don't think he really knew what he had when he sold it, but well, that's his problem. Perfect. Now the drum sounds as good as it possibly can. Or does it? You see, when you're playing metal, you want your drums to sound big and really take up a lot of space in the sonic picture. So what we're going to do now is to make our snare sound bigger somehow. And yeah, it needs to sound bigger, huge, more expansive. It expands. We can expand it. Heat expands materials. I've got it! In order to get a bigger snare sound, we first need to physically expand the drum, and we're gonna do this by giving it around 200 degrees Celsius in the oven for about 11 hours. Pro tip: if you're using a metal snare drum, you can achieve a much greater effect by putting it in a microwave oven for a more explosive sound. Alright, now our snare should sound absolutely amazing, but there's one more step to get that perfect aggressive sound that we so desperately want for some reason. You see, Saint Anger is an angry album, so we need our snare drum to sound angry, but in order to get some anger out of the snare drum, we must first put some anger into the snare drum. And there we go. Now that we've done everything in our power to make this snare drum sound fantastic, it's time to take it to my professional and well-equipped studio to hear how it sounds. I have no words to describe what we've just accomplished here today, but I hope this guide was useful for some of you, or at least a slight bit entertaining. Stay tuned for the next video, where I'll teach you how to become rich from playing the same drum beat for 45 years without making you want to kill yourself.